So no end screen this time, just pain. I almost opened another instance of World of Horror, but basically, we're working with another perm version, so I'd like to correct something. I'm pretty sure I just tested it out right before recording this, so everything should be fine, but we'll just do a full run just to be sure. I don't want to play on sick tasks, so we're just going to randomize, and we're just going to not, you can't randomize a guy. Well, yeah, you can. I'm just going to hit quick play again, and then we'll get Yogotag, Fatalist, my body, but 2 custom mysteries and random item stats. So, well, what did I say my backstory was? Fatalist? Yeah, Fatalist, Yogotag, and we'll do the same character, and then we'll move on. So, without further adu, for timestamp's sake, I will repeat everything again, but just in case you skip forward, as we get into Yogotag, Fatalist, random item stats, custom character, two custom mysteries. Yeah, no end screen here, because I want to just correct, it wasn't misinformation, but a mistake, because I wasn't sure if I was on the latest update for the Perm plugin. So I didn't want to mention, as I get Light Toxius on second encounter, Charisma, Strength, and maybe a Dexterity check, I didn't want it to make it seem like the current version that's publicly available is broken. And I don't think it is, because I've tested things out before this recording with like 5 to 7 investigations, including... And I know I ran into events in which it would have procced the double doom increase. So that's all I'm trying to say. But in particular, so to explain what the problem was with what version I was using, that's right, we're on Fatalist. So, yeah, we can't replace this one in the center here. I know it's Ward, but not much I can do. But as we enter the mystery where we get Kana, to explain what happened, basically, when you ran into a normal location-based custom event, specifically, I'm going to mention that again, location-based custom event, so in the school, if you run into a base World of Horror event, it won't count. If you run into Ath, Glitch Magician, it won't count. If you run into a custom mystery linked, or custom linked event of some sorts, it doesn't count. Only when you run into... I need a weapon, by the way. Only when you run into basically a random custom event that is not tied to a mystery or any requirements, but only tied to the location, will you have run into the double doom problem, which in doom increases twice, even though it's only supposed to increase once. Now, that's not counting any modifiers, but that's what I mean. Normally, so I'm gonna just click the apartments here and investigate. Normally, doom only increases by 1, so it went from 15 to 16, unless something weird happened, then I would have told you, but normally it increases by 1, but aside from, if that were a custom event, it would have increased by 2. If it wasn't a custom event, you get the point of what I'm trying to make it here. So yeah, at this point we should be okay to go. That's interesting, getting hard knock immediately, but we're not gonna use the cigarettes immediately either. So one last thing, let's check our max threat level location. Seaside Village, but I'm on Fatalist, and I know I have Ward, but it's still a coin flip, because the custom mysteries I have, I don't even remember, but we're gonna set the Seaside just to be safe. I would gamble more in running into a Seaside mystery at this moment than a Village mystery. It's really RNG at this point, so there's no point really thinking about it, but we'll move on. And if nothing else, hopefully this run will be a lot better than the last run. Not mentioning whether or not I succeeded or survived or lost the previous run in the previous episode, but by that I mean use my brain better while auto-wilding. That is a skill, I think. If nothing else, it's a multitasking skill. But as I run into 2 Doom here, that was because of the something truly worse status effect kicking in. So if I defeat this encounter, then I don't have to worry about the doom. All things considered, or considering that as a whole, if I run away or don't quote unquote win the encounter, then I do end up losing. Like if I escape, that's like more doom because it's 5 plus the 2 doom that I lost. But if you win, you get more experience out of it, and then you get your doom refunded essentially. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is that you normally just want to win your encounters, but there is a nuance there in some encounters, and I showed this in the last episode. I think it was pretty blatant. Not that it's a positive or negative thing. I'm just saying that you could see it. I think it was I ran away from the I did the I ticked the burns in Mermaids because robots don't like certain phrasing that I like to use apparently. So that's how I'm going to say it. I took burns, and then that counted as a victorious encounter, or I won against the school janitor. And so I got the Doom back, and I got 5 extra experience. But now, it's not the greatest thing in the world. It's just it's basically something else, but it's not really forcing me to do anything different. So this isn't, I wouldn't really call this a very unique mechanic. That makes me, basically what I would call a unique mechanic is something where you would go out of your way to do, and not normally do on a Harbinger run. So what I mean by that is, I think the only better example, because there are two, and one of them is the only one I believe from a gameplay standpoint works, is Jury with On the Run, where you change a lot of your strategy during the run if you want to keep Doom low and or level up and or get experience. Now, there are still some consistent things you may do, but I'm not willing to think about it at the moment because I'm sitting here going through the full force of Ward, I just realized. So, whoops. But the negative side, or the other side of that is, I'm going to look to see if I get my reason back. I don't, so do I want to gamble here? Hold on, let me focus for a moment. Nope, actually I did. Did I? We're just going to take this damage again. So the other side of that is Yashiro. Yashiro with the Fate system. Yashiro? Oh my goodness, I'm forgetting names. But, did I do a thing? Hold on. I'm saying that I should be losing -1 all. Did I make a mistake somewhere? I might have made a mistake somewhere. I think I've been properly losing. Actually, I'm just going to take this damage in the face and just find out. Oh, we'll improvise this to do something with our lives, but 11 stamina for a reason. Okay, so we are losing stamina. I thought we weren't losing reason. I don't know why I'm going crazy. Anywho, off we go. But yeah, Yashiro on the Faith system. So the reason why I say that's not really forcing at least me to do anything different. Again, if I'm wrong about this, or you can persuade me, otherwise feel free to persuade me, but I'm normally trying to stay on positive faith anyway, and doing that just involves hold on, I need to do some item management. Doing that mainly just involves doing what I would normally do on any other character on the Harbinger run. It's more basically it's a net negative if you are not being efficient, is what I'm trying, as another way of saying what I want to say. So what I mean by that is I'm not really changing my strategy to account for the Fate system, because I'm just playing as I would normally on Harbinger difficulty to do the Fate mechanics as intended. Especially now that Yashiro's been changed, I can see more of why Negative Faith would be a lot better on Yashiro before the change, and the change was essentially that I think it was just really the Ominous Letter, which requires more experience to level up with Yashiro. But because of that, now you do want to be on positive faith, because with negative faith, you're not getting as much experience, basically. I know it says, I think you lose experience if you're on negative faith, or in lower amounts of negative faith, and there's really only 2 levels, but you get the point. You want more experience as Yashiro now, because the Ominous Letter, you need more experience to level up. And though Yashiro's perks may not be, like, glamorous, there are still, I think 2 of them are good, My Weird Collection and maybe On Your Own, maybe Zeal, I think it's Zeal. Oh my goodness, I clicked the button right behind the level up screen. That's a small technical bug. But, yeah, I'm not, to rewind it back to look at the whole forest instead of just a tree, I'm not really changing my strategy on Harbinger to account for Yashiro's Fate system, as opposed to when I'm playing as Jury with On the Run. I'm aware that, okay, I don't want Doom to increase too much, because that increases the horror progress. And yes, Jury got a change, but it's still easy to horror progress yourself up to max. If you're not really paying attention. On Harbinger difficulty, I need to add that asterisk, on Harbinger difficulty. It's quite important to mention. We want to brace here, by the way. Do we get to do anything else? Maybe? I think I can just do Desperate... Yeah, Desperate Prep Strong Handcuffs. And this is a good encounter to handcuff tech. But yeah, off we go. But yeah, that's what I mean by if you're going to add a mechanic, especially to a custom character in the Perm plugin, with the Perm plugin, sorry, which matters a lot more. Also, I had an empty bottle. I'm so sad right now. Then yeah, it matters a lot more that you're trying to... I mean, in my opinion, you should try and change how a player thinks to account for the mechanic you want to use with a custom character. We have to take the custom history, by the way. We are entering Tongue. So yeah, and then in this case, so... That's why I say this Something Truly Works status effect isn't really... it's not really unique. It is a mechanic to be aware of, though. But it's not... I wouldn't call it a unique mechanic, because I'm just going to be playing as normal anyway. And by that, I mean you're not really trying... I wouldn't advise you to run away from a lot of encounters. I'm going to use both cigarettes now, by the way. You're not really... you're still accounting for the worst case in which this character does not mitigate or recover reason specifically, upon upon being hit by reason damage or hit by all damage. Which brings me to a question, I guess. This is the veteran or scholar's question for this video, in which I think it's a good by which I mean I think it's a good question to ask those who are veterans of World of War or know a lot about World of War or are involved in a lot with World of War, which is, do damage proc effects affect enemy B in double, or double encounters, and specifically the enemy B in double encounters. So the common example that I like to use is double nurses in the hospital. So when enemy B hits you, does the game account for both? I know it would from what I would think, it would definitely account for enemy A. So for example, say that this oral alien here is enemy A, and then this person in the background is enemy B because maybe they're fighting us. So if this second enemy here would do, say, -3 reason damage, and this character has a status effect that procs off of reason, taking reason damage, is the game capable, whether perm plugin or the game itself, capable of understanding that you're taking reason damage? Does it count both of them, or does it only count enemy A? That's just, again, my scholar's question for the day, because, again, to reiterate, I am not involved with the making of World of Horror, at least in its programming, or its or the perm plugin, so I wouldn't know the answer to those questions. But anywho, we have the army knife, we have strength, and we're gonna just brace because 3 stamina damage. And off we go. I'm going to keep an eye out on my reason, just in case it's increasing during the stamina damage encounter, but it shouldn't, and off we should go. So, the power of nicotine rush buff in the game, because outside, in real life, I do not smoke or drink. I try not to drink, definitely, but I definitely don't smoke. I've had bad experiences, health-wise. So, we'll take our second mystery here. We're going left to right. That's my little soft rule. Sometimes I'll break it, but it's a soft rule, which means if I break it, it shouldn't be too detrimental to the run. I mean, it can be, but... Or detrimental to the ethics of me playing World of Horror, but that's only my personal little ground rule that no one else should be following, because it's just me. But otherwise... I forgot to fill my empty bottle again, I'm pretty sure, but, yeah, a lot of things to look for in World of Horror, even though I would say that World of Horror is definitely not in the top, I was going to say 50, probably like 66% of games, or sorry, 33, in the top 33% percentile of games that where you either have to try hard to win among, compared to a lot of other games, or it's not that difficult. And you know that because you can look at me playing any other game on this channel and see how much I fail. And by that, I mean, I'm going to specifically say Mass Mode on Fear and Hunger 2. Or Fear and Hunger 1, but I have a lot more. I have like at least 10 times more experience with Fear and Hunger 2 than Fear and Hunger 1. We can mention other games like even, yeah, I mean, we're playing World of Horror, so we're, the ESRB ratings are pretty similar, although the categories aren't the same, and that matters in countries. Okay, getting into topic though. Honey Pop, we'll just say it out loud. Honey Pop, to a greater extent, more knowledge check-based games like Stellaris, Darkest Dungeon 2, because these are games that are more strategy, and you can basically sit and you don't have perfect information. I wouldn't say that, and that wouldn't be correct to say, but it does require a lot of strategy and a lot of the. But when I say knowledge check, I mean that you are trying to make decisions strategically, and knowing more information about the game, its strategy, so on and so forth, would make a difference. Another example, which has more, I guess, hand-eye coordination, has more, I guess, skill, but not really, would be Against the Storm, because, oh, by the way, we're taking so much damage here, I actually just want to run. Did I actually heal Ryu's? Anywho, but basically, because there is a specific trait in the game. If you don't know Against the Storm, there is a specific trait in that game in which you can't pause the game. So what ends up happening is that you are actually on the clock. And I know there's probably going to be some person who can say, "Oh, Jordan, you can do this in this video. You can do this in Against the Storm to basically give yourself more time, even if you have that forest mystery. Even if you have that forest mystery." And it's like, I don't really like doing that. I mean, others are free to do so. I'm not going to look down on anyone for doing that. By the way, this is reason damage, by the way. So I think we just have to run here instead. We're taking a lot of Doom for this, but we have to take a lot of Doom at this point. And we're going to actually take this with us. Okay, I'm going to just preemptively put Sensor Bunny on the screen. But to kind of transition to another topic. Wow, we just one-shot this enemy with the power of Nicotine Rush. So what I mean by what I was mentioning with there's probably someone, and I don't really like, basically exploiting the game, even though I'm using exploits here technically with handcuff tech and other stuff, but there are certain limits that I have. I'm less tolerant of them, even though I usually like to say I'm more tolerant on the other side of things, but in this case, it's like, I know for sure it's definitely not intended by the developer, and it probably wouldn't fit the rules of the game. So what I mean by that, we'll use Against the Storm because that's the example I'm using. Very specifically in Against the Storm, if you get this effect where you're not allowed to pause the game, but you find some way to pause the game, you are directly going against the intention or the design of that, basically that settlement. Whereas opposed to World of Horror, technically there's nothing stopping you from using handcuffs the moment an enemy's HP hits 12 or below. So while it is, I would call it a not a bug, a design oversight. I think I've used that before, and in a good way actually, because that allows you to actually survive more often. But funny enough, uses player skill, but it's not like the most difficult thing to do unless you're trying to fire a weapon and then use handcuff tech. But you get the point I'm trying to make at this point. You are. It wasn't outright intended to use handcuffs, but it's certainly not intended to stop the timer on, say, when you're playing Frostpunk 2 on Iron Man mode, when you are playing, oh my goodness, reason, by the way, I don't have a light source, but to finish this off, because I'm not using an end screen here, except for maybe right here, where I'm just at the main menu for the last 20 seconds. But yeah, you're not intended to stop the clock in that effect in Against Storm. You're not intended to, say, break the active time battle system in Star Renegades. Oh my goodness, please don't tell me I flubbed the name of a game at the end of the video. But you get what I mean, at this point. Nothing really much else to say. If you have any questions or if you want me to continue talking about or have anything to say on any topics I've said in this video, you know what to do. Otherwise, I'm not going to take up much more of your time. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Bye!